What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Treehouse. I am Julia, as always, and with me I have my pal Hattie. Hey, Hattie.
Hi, how are
How
you?
are we doing today?
I have a very itchy finger, which sounds dodgy.
Which sounds like a euphemism, but what's better is that it's not.
No, my little finger's very itchy.
We're going to try to move past that, and today we have got two shows for you that we're going to be breaking up into two parts. We're going to be reviewing and previewing the Women's Six Nations, and then we'll hop over to Pacific Four. We've got a good deal to cover. We had a really great opening weekend for Six Nations and Pacific Four. Give us the wet details. Let's start with Women's Six Nations.
Woo. The one where if you didn't go that deep into women's rugby, you would think this is the only competition that was on this weekend.
You would think so. And if you listened to most rugby talkers and pundits, you would think is the better competition. That's
That feels
interesting.
like you're setting me up for something, so I'm not going to engage. And
And I'm just
instead,
gonna blow right past it.
should we start off with the first match of the weekend, France versus Italy?
Yeah, let's just get the bad news out of the way.
It didn't go how I thought it might. I thought it would be close and or Italy might sneak it, but instead we got a 40-7 massacre.
We did, and remarkably though, and it kind of like kept slapping me in the face. I'm sure other people who remember it, but just like in the back of my mind, I just kept replaying that clip from Philo over and over. That was like, we can't be a 40-minute team. We can't be a 40-minute team today.
Yeah, they scored one try in
It's
the
immediately what they did.
yeah, so they it took them 20 minutes to score. They scored one try in the first half and everything else came in the second.
And then somebody yelled at them at halftime and came in. What
And
did we think? Oh, yeah.
so just to last year, if you watched us last year, you will know that we had an ongoing bit about when Pauline Baudouin-Sansu came off. And something you may have noticed is that she did move from her position at scrum half at 62 minutes or
Hmm.
61 and a half, I think. But she did actually stay on the pitch because they didn't have any other players, so she was, I believe, on the wing for the
So
other
we're gonna
18
we're gonna
minutes.
we're gonna progress our theory, and we're actually going to think that she can only do scrum half activities for 60 minutes. You can put her at 10. You can put her well on the wing is ridiculous, but we did it. We had a whole weekend of what's she doing there? And that's been a
Yeah.
lot of fun. Speaking of what's she doing there, what did you think of what we all agreed was kind of a new look in terms of France? How do we think that that fared?
So obviously last week when we reviewed the overall team, we were like, this is a lot of new players. Then the team
Mm,
sheet came out and I was like, oh,
mm.
they had, I
Yeah,
believe, six new caps, most of them in the back three. I was like, I personally wouldn't try out new back three players against Italy.
that was
Yeah.
and
But
that was honestly most of the basis of your prediction was
yeah,
that you thought that it would absolutely fall apart.
yeah, and I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean the only reason that I didn't go with you there is because we do luckily because France is so historically bad at like talking about their younger players. Luckily, we had the results from the under 21 and under 20 under 18 Six Nations and like
They are very dominant. I don't know. I'm really surprised that it was this big of a gap. I will say they did leave quite a few tries out on the pitch. There were a couple that they just
every
bungled.
every review that I saw, including friend of the pod, Hugh, said that there could have been upwards of 5 tries left out there. And honestly, that didn't feel like an exaggeration.
No,
It was by far the most frustrating. For me, my big takeaway, despite the win, was that France couldn't finish. Um,
no.
which which again, if you are longtime listeners, unfortunately, has been something that we have said before, and that's what worries me. And also, like, I mean, I guess that's kind of a more meta question, but like, can coaching fix that? I don't,
But
I don't know.
the thing that's really strange is that it's a really new look team.
Right.
It's a new coach.
Would you say they're playing differently though from what you're used to? Because we know that France
No,
Rugby is a brand. Right.
no.
That's how I felt.
Um, the
Is
one
that
thing,
you were fitting new pieces into the same mold. That's how
yeah,
I felt.
and moving older pieces into new places. Like Velo at seven
Trip
was a weird
weird.
choice.
It was weird.
And I actually think that if they'd had a proper seven. Like, fine, play her at
If they
six,
had
play her at eight.
Ukemba, for example.
Like, it would be really different. Like, she just doesn't have the speed.
Right.
And
And
it,
and
she doesn't have the speed. She doesn't necessarily have some of the like grit and nose that you need to play seven. It's not a bad thing. She does have the athleticism to play six. She's a great chop tackler. She's an incredible line out forward.
that was going to be my follow-up question is do you feel like because it
But
didn't
it's a
truly feel
different
like
skill
a
set.
skill set. Exactly. I was going to say because it didn't feel like skills weren't there. It felt like skills weren't being used properly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. Yeah.
And
It
so actually, yeah, the God damn it, children. The 6 and 7 question. There well, now we're young.
we are young.
The
We're
first
hip.
Gen Z, the first Gen Z podcast hosted by a 38-year-old. Uh,
You've got your backwards cap on. You're like,
I do have my backwards cap on.
you know
I
that
am.
thing with Steve Buscemi where he's playing a teenager
Hello,
and
fellow kids.
he's like, "Hello,
It's my
friends."
favorite. It's my favorite show of all time. So I do know Steve Buscemi, Hello, fellow kids from 30 Rock. Um, how do you do, fellow kids? It absolutely is, except for mine is because it's a signifier of something else, and that's gender. So, okay. Unfortunately, we do have one really shitty piece of news out of the France-Italy matchup. We have lost, in my opinion, my best hope for Grise and or my best hope for the center, who was Grise. Um, so considering what we said last week,
When we were
and
like, they don't have
Conde isn't there,
any
and we were
real
like,
outside centers.
who's gonna play with Grise? Well, so now, having seen this group, I genuinely don't, off the top of my head, have an idea for who goes.
Well, this is where it gets a bit weird because they've
I'm
called up
curious.
in her place
Mm.
Tiani Falu, who
Yeah,
who
let's go there. I want to reason this out because I get it on paper because she's kind of she has played 8 and 13. It's true. However,
so
you tend to lose one.
she played. I don't even think it was 13. I think it was
Oh,
12.
12. 12, my
I
bad.
think she played 12 at like under 18s level.
It had to have been
She,
a long time ago. It's definitely not a club.
oh no, she has played it at club. The
Oh.
first time she played 8 was for France.
Oh, okay. Well, never
So
mind then. Maybe this isn't that bad.
yeah,
I don't know.
but pretty much since then she's only played 8. And apparently
Yeah,
the
and
reason why she
do you happen
wasn't,
to have with you how old she is? I know she's not
oh,
that.
she's like 21.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think she's possibly young enough that it might not matter.
She's a youth.
Yeah.
The reason apparently that she wasn't called up into the squad as a number 8 originally was that she had an injury, which
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not sure I believe because
I had heard that it was on
how,
form.
yeah, I've heard that the injury,
I think we heard it from the same person. Go on.
yeah. But the thing is, the same person has told me it was injury and form, but it was injury afterwards. I feel like they've just said it was
Again,
injury to cover up
France
the
could
fact that it was, I don't
France could
know.
fix this. France could fix this by like releasing information.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I love what they did at the weekend with like capping their original squad and doing all of that nice stuff and
They've been doing so much cool
having
stuff.
the lovely videos. That is wonderful. However, you're missing some very basic. Can you
And
not pay somebody at Rugby
I was gonna
Pass
say,
to write an article? Because Spain do it.
well, yeah, absolutely. And
Spain
also
leak their
like
information to Rugby Pass all the time to get it published in English. Can you not do that, France?
absolutely. And like there are a million and one reasons to dog Rugby Pass. We could do that all day. But I will say, like, I personally think that hiring Francisco Isaac was like a coup, and like
Yeah.
you fixed a lot of your problems by doing that with a Spanish and Portuguese speaker. But also you have others. You have Gautier, I think that's his name. Yeah, Gautier Baudin. He writes. He would. Um,
And so I know that like the French media does publish about the French women's team, which is like how
mhm.
people we know get this
And it's
information.
in right, but it's in that
However,
publication that will not let you read it unless you. Sorry,
yeah, but it's
I have
behind a
tried. It's
paywall
L'Equipe. Yeah.
and it's and it's all in French. So we have to wait for our friends to read it and translate it to us.
And
So
then none of their fault because they're just our friends, but also unfortunately, then we end up getting
we get
uh
secondhand information
we get
like 4 days
we
after the
I was gonna say
fact.
and we get a little bit of editorial in there as well, which I appreciate because I love knowing what my friends think, but I'm like, no, but really, like, is she good?
Yeah.
They're like,
It's quite funny because now at this point we have a lovely subscriber who listens to us who tells us things on Blue Sky. We have got Rebecca, I
oh,
believe.
fantastic.
We've and then we've got our two other friends. And so
Who
I get three pieces of information and
you
none of
do.
them really match.
None of them really match. What we should do is,
Love you all. Keep doing it.
oh yeah, absolutely. We're gonna keep doing it. Um, but we could add it to also get Maz in the mix if we could.
Yeah,
If we could. But I keep bugging Hugh for that, and he's like, she does not want to do more crap. And I'm like, okay.
fair enough.
Oh, you don't want to be on a 2.5 hour podcast? Okay.
Do you know what? We have some people who really want to join us, and there are other people, who just for some reason are turned off by the 2.5 hours.
Okay. And what are you doing for 2.5 hours that you can't have us annoying you while doing it?
And the thing
I
is,
listen to my own podcast back while I do chores as a punishment.
I mean, also you could speed us up. I know I have a very annoying high-pitched voice and do talk
Yeah.
kind of quickly,
Yeah.
but I think it'd be fine if you sped me up.
I have been told, and in a way that did not hurt my feelings, that that's what people do with my other podcast. I think they probably just don't tell me about this one because it wouldn't be woke to say that you don't like listening to women.
Uh, for the
But
people at
yeah,
home, it was me that told her I listened to the other one sped up.
yeah. It was Hattie. It was literally Hattie. I really like that until just now I forgot that it was you, and I thought that it was another friend who also listens to this podcast and is mean to me. Um,
No,
it
it
was
was me.
you. It was you. And that's fair and right. And I'm not certain, but I have a suspicion that you do not listen to this podcast again. Ours. I don't think you listen back to it.
Oh, I do.
Oh, okay.
Not
I
always. And
genuinely.
no, and do you know what? I do, but when I do you know what I do? I listen to it sped
Mute
up.
me. Okay. You're like, I only listen to the parts that I like,
Yeah,
and it's mostly the ads.
yeah.
I actually don't know if we get monetized. Probably not.
If anybody on the Global Gainline Rap family was going to be demonetized,
It's us for
it's
sure.
us, yeah.
Recently, since the last time we lied about it, Costco has increased their sponsorship. They have deemed Hattie's membership actually fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That's a really weak running bit, and I really need to like just let it go. But
Is it
that's
better
on
than
me.
I think it's better than the dead dog though.
It is, but unfortunately, everybody has started attributing the dead dog to us. That they're just like
Yeah.
it's not a, and evenly is like it's not a podcast if you haven't talked about something gay and you haven't mentioned your dead dogs.
We didn't talk about the dead dog last week. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of monetization, we're going to talk about England versus
England
Ireland.
versus Ireland, yeah,
Yeah,
that is
yeah,
monetization. Let's go.
yeah. 32-12 at I'm not going to call it HQ. I was going to do it for the bit and I just can't let myself do it.
Does it make you like feel ill?
It actually makes me want to retch.
It makes your finger itch,
It makes my
euphemistically.
whole body.
It makes all of you itch,
Yeah.
which would really land better if those of us who weren't Hattie knowers didn't know that like most things make you itch all over.
Yeah.
Lore
Um,
drop.
yeah. Allergic to life.
Lord drop Hattie has a shitty immune system.
Um, so, refereed by everyone's favourite, Clara Minorini. Jouet Jouet.
Uh, most recently referred to as a referee.
A referee.
She is one of the most referees in the competition.
I will say, I don't think she had the most egregious acts of refereeing this weekend, actually. So
No,
shout out
no. In
Clara.
fact, it she barely acted, so it was
Yeah.
great.
Um. So, 33-12. Now, non-ball knowers may be thinking,
It's not that
comprehensive
bad.
England win, right?
Oh yeah.
However,
Sorry.
uh,
Ball
and
knowers, no, not that bad.
ball knowers know, actually that's very good. Two
It was
years ago,
fantastic. It's yeah, high improvement from Ireland.
yeah, 2 years ago at the exact same venue, 88-10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I know that that was one of the ones that was like
Mm.
bad.
Yeah.
Um,
So very impressive from Ireland, actually. I will.
yeah, I'm not mad. What I am excited to do with this one, and like, sorry, and I know that we could talk about England and their performance, but I don't really care. Um, I know, whatever. Obviously, they won. That's great. But I am really more curious only because you are in my life by far the most Ireland critique. Um,
Although I was on the Interpro show last week to
I know
talk
I
about
waited.
Irish rugby.
I made sure not to say it until this episode, so you kept that booking.
Yeah.
Um, Other than that, and other than jokes aside, surely you have to have an improved opinion. I'm curious if you do.
I will say, here's the thing. My issues with Ireland are a mixture of deep-seated Welsh rivalry
Welsh rivalries, yeah.
and a issue with non-bull knowers who happen to be Irish on the internet thinking they're bull knowers.
Yeah. A lot of it unfortunately has almost nothing to do with the team.
Yeah, I do think that um, I do worry maybe a bit about the depth of this team. I think they are quite lucky actually that they went up against England first.
Which was very hard for me when a lot of the chatter coming out from people that I absolutely consider ball knowers, but happen to be Irish. And I remember you and me specifically ran into the same thing that popped up on both of our feeds, that there was a narrative that like there was extreme depth shown. And let's calm down.
So here's the thing. Number one, the biggest issue of depth, and it's been the biggest issue of depth for a number of years now, is in their front row.
Right.
Um, and the thing is, they've got players now who are excellent, who
Hmm.
have been playing really, really well at Celtic Challenge level, playing really, really well at Interpro level, playing really, really well at AIL, but they don't get capped.
Yeah, and we actually touched on that a lot in our preview. And to be fair, yes, some of it is IRFU management, and we know that
Yeah.
player management in general has not been amazing. But also a few of those that we looked at, I remember specifically was just like, wow, your timing was terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and the
I
thing is,
mean,
like, it,
we are still and like it is important to remember we are still paying for the repercussions of all of the caps that were delayed from COVID.
yeah,
That's
and,
one of them, but
and
like it really wasn't that long ago. And like I often have to remind people, I'm like a lot of people who were, 17, 18, 19, and they were emerging talents were basically stalled
yeah, or there was also the weirdness with specifically with Ireland where
with
they
yes,
with the former coach who will not be named,
right.
where he dropped like the whole team and kind of
Which
ruined a bunch of people's careers. Um,
absolutely. And I mean, and it ended up, I mean, we don't need to rehash it, especially because we have in depth before, but it's kind of hard to overstate because of how little it looked like happened, compared to the repercussions. Um, I mean, they lost, in my opinion, like a much stronger captain for basically no reason. Um, and it ended up causing a domino effect where you ended up blackballing people. Um, I mean,
yeah,
you can't be a crash out coach in rugby.
no. Um, but yeah, I do think they have some specific depth issues. The front row is the main one. I think that
Yeah.
and
I mean,
and the
you're coming up on losing Linda Gang soon. Like
yeah,
it is
and
what
they
it is.
but yet she's still playing like 75 minutes.
Absolutely.
You're not developing that player coming through. They've got
Right.
Elena Perry now, who, let's be frank, is not going to have a Long Island career.
Right.
And she's a plaster on it all.
Yeah.
But these are the same issues that the Irish men's teams have, where it's like we're going to put forth keep playing these players at international level because it's more likely for us to win rather than building depth for the next World Cup. And I think that's the
Yes.
current issue that they have. They need to kind of switch the mindset a little bit. Um,
And it ends up being a special kind of frustrating because it's not the same issue as you can have on other you as you have seen on other teams. What frustrates me the most about this problem that they have is that it's not that the talent isn't there. And I know that
Yeah.
I reference him all the time, but I think a lot about what John Cronin writes about, where it's you have the talent, and then it feels like what IRFU has done to them is put up a bunch of roadblocks, such as having to be centrally located in Dublin, one of the most expensive places to live in Europe. You can't keep your contract if you go to PWR. Unfortunately, that's where you get the best. And all of your opponents are going and playing in PWR. I understand. And if I were IRFU, like I think I probably would have that rule, and I think that it would be as destructive. There are so many things in the way that it's really frustrating that when you watch them play in the Celtic Challenge, for example, this shouldn't be happening. It's not. It's not an Ireland rugby problem. It's an Ireland management problem.
Yeah.
I think.
And and this is the thing. Yes, they really do have that potential depth. I think of any of the nations apart from like England, they have that potential depth. The
Absolutely.
problem is they're expecting players to make the jump from Celtic Challenge to international without having any gap
With very little. I was going to say
with
with
no caps.
with
Yeah.
very little transitional help.
Yeah.
And this actually feels kind of like a good thing to touch on because it is something that we have thoughts about in a similar vein with Wales, which we'll be talking about next. But it's something that we need to in women's rugby start looking at because pathways is something that we talk about all the time. And I feel like one thing that we are learning from what I consider the success of the Celtic Challenge is that perhaps the pathway doesn't end at international competition when we now have different tiers of international competition, which is great. It's what we want. But it is true at the end of the day that playing in the Celtic Challenge is not playing in the Six Nations.
I feel we've really not talked about the England Ireland game. It happened. It was an
Unfortunately.
England game.
Yeah.
Morwenna Talling,
We
it's very sad that it looks like a pretty serious
yeah,
injury on her
pretty
half.
serious.
No Mo Hunt for the rest of the Six Nations. She's
Hmm.
out completely.
Yeah, those will be too
Um,
critical.
but I mean, to be honest, you can go to literally any other women's rugby podcast on the internet right now
And
and find 45 minutes about that match.
yeah, absolutely. And honestly, and you know what? I don't feel that bad about it because if you went to go to any of those, you would get better analysis. Because I will be honest, I do not spend a lot of time analyzing England. I maybe
And if
that's
we're
on
going to
me.
talk about the number two nation that gets talked about the most on the internet by rugby podcasts, it's also Ireland. So if you want to go
Yep,
watch Run Amucker or our sister brother podcast, The Interpro Show,
absolutely.
you go for
And
it.
if you go listen to the Interbro show, you get to hear Hattie. Everyone needs more Hattie.
One night only.
One night only, ladies.
One night
And
only.
it's true because Hattie won't go to Ireland.
I actually have been debating if I go to Belfast for the Wales game, but I don't. I was trying to work out if I could do it in one day, flying from Luton, like fly out in the morning and fly back in the afternoon. But I don't think I
Do you,
can.
do you want to go to Belfast?
Moving on.
Moving on. Um, but yes, all of that was to say, we're sorry that we don't focus on that one, and we are admitting it as a shortcoming. However, we also know that it is not something that you cannot get by equally good ball knowers elsewhere. And frankly, we feel like teams like Wales, which we're about to do, don't get talked about that much. So we're gonna do that.
Wales versus Scotland. I was there.
I know. I was thrilled. Despite what we're about to talk about, it sounded like it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. I had a really great weekend.
Yeah,
Uh,
that makes me so happy. And
yeah,
you must have felt so great to be back in Cardiff.
it was really fun. So I went down on Friday, got the train. Um,
We could all feel your spirit lighten when you crossed that border.
um, I
Skin glowing, moisturized,
realized,
hydrated,
yeah,
brighter
um,
in the eyes.
yeah, ate M&S Picky Bits in the bed for dinner. When walked all the way
Did
down to
not have a
Cardiff.
plate.
Didn't have didn't have a knife either.
A very interesting Airbnb, which I feel like
Oh, should I touch on the Airbnb situation? Since I did the Toby
I
Carvery
mean,
hotel
I
review.
was gonna say everybody loves it when we go a little bit off topic about places we stayed.
Yeah. So I stayed in I can't, it was called like neighborhood rooms or something. And basically, I found it on booking.com and it was like 160 quid for 2 nights, which was a really good deal because a lot of
Yeah, I
places were
was gonna say
like
that sounds really good.
180, 190 for one night.
A night, yeah.
And I was like, sure, that seems like a good idea. Um, so it turns out, I think it was, I knew it was like a room, not like a hotel room. It was like a
Yeah, it
room.
was
I,
just
I, I
it was
knew
a
that,
room.
yeah. Um, so when I got there, it turns out like underneath is like a little cafe restaurant thing. And then, but that clearly used to be like a corner shop.
Mm.
And then it was just like the flats above they'd renovated into being like single room occupancies.
Is that a classic 5/1?
I don't know what that means.
I know that it's in Britain.
I don't know. But
It's a way that you guys have built houses. It doesn't sound right. It's fine.
um so it was this like weird little room that was a really weird shape that the TV did.
Your house is the room that you're in right now is a weird shape.
Oh yeah, the room I'm in right now is a really weird shape. But this was a really strange room. It was like tilted, like the floor was like tilted, so I constantly felt like I was moving. But it was very, very cheap. The woman who ran it was really, really nice. And I would stay there again. It had a bath, so
Wonderful.
yeah.
That actually ended up a good story.
And it
And
was like a
then
5 minute walk to the stadium.
that's sick.
It
I
was really
am
close.
going. I am still I was telling Hattie earlier that I was looking at for those of you who are following Pacific Port, well obviously we're going to go to it later, but just anecdotally, the Australian team has been having a terrible time in America. Even though all the cities are good, all the places they're going are good. That's not the problem.
I
It's
mean,
just that they got attacked by
they're upset about the weather when they've got demons among
demon
them.
animals,
Yeah.
which especially when they're in Kansas City, which is a delightful place, by the way. But anyway, there there was torrential downpour in the one that we'll be talking about next episode, and then now they just got hit by a tornado in Kansas City. They did not get hit by the tornado. Most people don't. Um,
I feel
but
like getting hit by a tornado in Kansas is just like Tuesday.
it is, and I want to let that land because the two other American listeners, both of whom are my friends, are both going, "It's Missouri." It's fine. Um, all of that is true. Uh, where was I going with that? Oh, right. So I was looking at the forecast and it looks like it's going to be heavy thunderstorming on Friday. So we'll see. I'm really excited about either way, drinking in a stadium. And then like if everything just gets paused, I'm gonna upload a bunch of clips because I got a little fake GoPro. Um,
Nice. Are you
I'm getting us content.
nice? Uh, have you gone for a regular hotel room or have you gone for a slightly dodgy, weird thing like I did?
Regular hotel, that was where I was going with it. Because folks will remember my story from the New York Sevens, where I also I ended up because Newark is not an amazing place to be all the time. I was like, I'm just gonna go for a chain hotel. And then because I am one of the least, I'm not conflict avoidant, but I just like I'm usually fine with whatever is best for whoever. They were like, "Do you want to become a member?" And I was really tired and I really wanted to go upstairs, so I just said yes. And so I did, and now I'm a member of that chain or whatever. You know, it's probably horrible. It's
Yeah.
probably a horrible chain. Um,
Did you get like 10% off?
exactly. I got
Yeah.
10% off. I got free breakfast.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I will.
That's what I have.
Unfortunately, I am very easy.
That's what I have with booking.com. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll just book everything here now.
Yeah, mine is I can't believe it. We should be more like WNBA. We're not saying products unless you're paying us. But I found out it's IHG Hotels who also apparently are a sponsor of the Six Nations. So I was like, okay, so I'm basically helping the Six Nations
Yeah.
by
Love
doing
that.
this. No, there was one hotel right by CPKC and it was so heavily booked. I was like, the teams are definitely staying there. So I will be walking there.
That's fine. That's fine. Um, I also went to go see the Codebreaker statue.
Yes, and we will. I don't know if we even can when we put this up on YouTube, and definitely we can on Spotify. Ugh, that's annoying. But do go look. Hattie has several various social media avenues, but it would all be through the Rugby History Project. And if you are able to not be weird and racist,
Hmm.
go give that a look.
Yeah, apparently I
If you
got,
are weird and racist, please don't make a comment.
yeah, or I'll just shadow ban you, which I've realized you can do on YouTube.
Which we didn't know until today you could do. I'm really sad I didn't get to see because I love mess.
Yeah, I so for the people at home, I got called racist
But but not the way you think.
for celebrating a statue of two black men and a white man whose parents were Latvian.
So not the right kind of white.
Not the right kind of, yeah.
Mm,
Um, and apparently it's racist to have statues of people who aren't white.
who aren't white.
Yeah.
Exactly. It sounds like a really uh well-rounded person who
Mhm.
has a lot of good things going on in their life.
Yeah, I did respond before I shadow banned them into, the depths of hell. And that
Were
I
you
don't
sassy?
so the first one I said, oh yes, it is racist that, these people of color were forced to leave their home
You're
country
right.
to, go and play overseas because they weren't allowed because they were people of color or they had a different last name, etc., etc. Um, and then he came back and was clarified that no,
No,
he
no,
was
I want
actually
you to know.
he clarified that he was
I
being
know. I
racist,
and the
which
thing is
I
you and I both
knew. I was
I was
just
gonna say it's the thing that you and I both do where we're just like, I'm gonna give you one chance to get out, and then if not, you're gonna dig way deeper.
and
Dug
then
way deeper.
and then I replied just saying, I don't think this is the channel for you. Um,
And it wasn't.
and then I shadow banned them. So he can argue all he likes in all of my comments and nobody can see it.
Which sucks because I love getting in an online fight. Little lore drop. It's very easy to beat me. Um,
With that, on how
how
to
was the
bait
actual
Julia.
rugby?
Oh, so it was interesting. So the actual game itself, there was a woman next to me, and I almost grabbed her hand. Never met before. Almost grabbed her hand several times because I was
Yes, that's
having an
rugby.
internal
That's rugby
panic.
values. I wish I could be doing our Bill Beaumont emoji.
My
That's rugby
sticker.
values.
Hang on.
This is very good for the audio listeners. Audio description: Hattie is digging around in a large box of stickers that she has, most of which were designed by herself. And this one says rugby values, but it's kind of like in the 3D kind of,
And it's glittery
and it's glittery, which you need to understand. If she can't make something leopard print, it will be glittery
or pink.
or pink or all of them.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that I've seen you
It's
have a lot of pink leopard print. So what I really like is that the camera doesn't know that that's in the foreground. So it keeps blurring it like it's like all sponsored. There you go.
it's a little thing of rugby balls.
A thing you would not expect in this room, almost exclusively full of rugby things.
Yeah. Um, so
Do we
uh
want to talk about how the game went?
yeah, so right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we felt. Yeah.
So do you know what? There were massive, massive positives, I think.
Yes. And that's the thing.
Um,
Like bits aside, everybody agreed. Most importantly, the coach and the players themselves, massive improvement from Wales. That said, absolutely like critical win for Scotland. It's really unfortunate that we talked about it last week a lot. The injuries are continuing. Unfortunately, we came out with injuries from both sides for this match.
one I think more vital than the other.
Absolutely. The big one coming out of it, for those who didn't know, and I found out, yeah, I found out yesterday that I told the Wall Street Journal boys on air about Emma Orr, and they both had to live it real time, and it was really sad. Especially David being a big
Yeah.
Scotland fan. But yeah, especially for those of you who are playing fantasy, heads up, Emma Orr is out. On top of the likes of Evie Gallagher being out, I mean, these are a lot of important playmakers on both the forwards and the backs. For Wales, we have now seen a Six Nations ending injury for Lisa Neumann, who we
Mhm.
of course also hope is better. Luckily, it didn't sound like this one is too severe. We obviously we don't celebrate any, but anytime that it's not the three-dotted letters is good. That's what we
Yeah, I
want.
think like with Lisa Neumann, I'm pretty sure she managed to play like the rest of the game. It was
Yes.
just I'm
Isn't it a
assuming
hammy? It's a hammy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, which I feel like she's had problems with anyway.
Yes, she tore it at Quinn's either early this season or late last season.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, however, saying that, We do have
Yeah.
a lot of back three talent coming through.
Mhm.
It's a bit like, was it
So,
last week we said about like if we were going to lose a key person in any position, it would be back row. If it wasn't
mhm,
back row, it would be nine or the back three. Like
mhm.
uh,
Yes.
we've got a lot of young players. I hope that this forces those young players to come through.
Exactly. So you and I were talking about this in the wake of it, and there are a few permutations that this could take. And we are going to speculate wildly because, oddly enough, this is one of the few times actually that I can think of in recent memory where Wales has put out an injury statement and not immediately had who was coming in to replace them. So
We're
naturally,
doing a
a bunch,
USA.
yeah, which we are excited to talk about for that one. Um, but for this one, we're going to pontificate a little bit, for my sake, and I think we have the same one because we were talking about it. But for me, the only two options that I can think of are either Jenny Hesketh or Courtney Greenaway.
Mhm.
We looked at it because our first thoughts, and I think we might have mentioned it last episode, was that we thought maybe there was a chance that GB Sevens was holding their contract. It doesn't look like it. I
I
was
think,
chatting to a Bears player who said that Jenny has been in the gym. She's just sitting in Bristol waiting.
yeah, I've heard Courtney Greenaway played last weekend in Wales,
Yeah,
like club rugby,
I think it was in the whatever it is, the championship.
the
But yeah,
Admiral, whatever. Yeah.
Admiral, yeah, the Admiral thing. Um, so I, and I know that when we're talking about new talent, it unfortunately technically wouldn't include Jenny Hesketh. Only because there are so many like truly young players that we could be putting in right now. My heart wants Jenny, my brain wants Greenaway. Um, what are your thoughts? What do you think
I
is what do you want and what do you think is most likely? And if it's the same, awesome for you.
For me, I think it is more likely to go Greenaway. I think like
Yeah,
Lisa Neumann,
because it would
she's
be a like for like.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like for like out and out winger. I have thought a little bit about why Greenaway wasn't included maybe in the first time round, and obviously she's not. But one of the big things about Courtney Greenaway is that she wasn't in the pathway. She was just playing club
Right.
rugby. She went to the Gwalia Lightning, like
Essentially
open
a walk
trainings.
on.
Yeah.
Essentially a walk on. Yeah.
And it has turned out that she's like an incredible finisher and she has
Hmm.
been away with GB7s a few times. My thing is like maybe the reason why she wasn't picked, obviously we don't know, we're pontificating, is that her
Hmm.
fitness wasn't up to the level that Sean Lynn would want for an international rugby player in
And
the
that
Six
would
Nations.
and that would be really fair, especially, I mean, and we did also know, because you just mentioned it, we did also know, regardless that she has the 15s experience, awesome, and that's not what we're arguing. When you have been in a sevens environment, even for just, a few months, your mind changes,
Mm.
or your view on it shifts. And the other thing, you brought it up last episode, and I've been thinking a lot about it since, and definitely the way that she was covered during this match really suggests that I think everybody is preparing for the departure of Jazz Joyce. I think, and not that we want it or that we think that it's warranted or not warranted. It's just something that happens. We know that she and her wife are starting a family. And we said it last time, but like three Olympics doesn't suck. Like,
No.
yeah,
And I think as well, like Sean Lynn is really picking a team for the future.
yeah.
He had a fair number of new caps, or at least very, very young players in this squad. He's putting faith in them. He's
The
putting
Saren
trust in
squared,
them.
especially, yeah.
Sarah and Squared, especially, yeah. Um, he is really, really banking on that youth. We have so much talent in that back three, and we have out and out 15s wingers, which is not jazz.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
it
That
has
and
been
that was the long road that I was taking to just like it sucks and we don't want anybody to think that we are slagging anybody off, especially not Jazz fucking Joyce. But it's good news actually that
yeah,
there are
and
things coming down the pike that are exciting.
the difference between Sarah Singleton and Jazz Joyce, you may look at them and you'd be like, they
They're
are
very
tiny.
different. They're
Yeah,
very
they're
different
tiny
players.
wingers who are absolutely rapid from West Wales. They
Sure.
are completely different. Jazz
Completely
Joyce
different the way
is
they play.
known entirely for not passing the ball, for being a bit of a
Yep.
one-woman show, which is great for what she does on the Seven Circuit.
Yes.
Seren is completely different.
It's also by the way even fine in some 15 setups. That's still
Yeah.
fine. I just wanted to
However, I think for the way that Sean Lim wants to play, something that I noticed
yeah,
at the
not the way he
weekend,
wants to play.
Seren was coming off her wing. She was acting as scrum half a few times, especially when the other Seren came on. The two of them were playing off each other really, really well. Molly Reardon comes in and plays nine a few times.
I was gonna say, and this is and especially watching the other matches from this weekend, great because that's something, especially what you just touched on, is something that I personally and probably a lot of ball knowers who are older kind of naturally wince at because like it goes against kind of how we were rugby raised of like you become very good at your position. If you happen to play another one, that's cool. It's kind of like a party trick. And it usually happens to be one that's very much like yours, but we are now in the age of 8/12s.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, the game has just moved there, and in that regard, yeah, your Jazz Joyce doesn't have more in the bag, and it's not that you can't teach older players new tricks, it's that some don't want to, and that's okay.
like the game plan has moved on, and I think
It's moved.
she's not necessarily fitting what Sean Lim wants, which is
Right.
fine. That happens. Um,
Yeah,
I think, if you look at a couple of years ago, it was absolutely revolutionary when Claudia McDonald Maloney McDonald
exactly.
moved from nine to the wing. And one of
It
the
was.
reasons why she's so integral to that England side is the fact she acts
It's
as
because she can do both.
distributor. She
She
acts
can
as a
do both.
distributor between in the back three, and I think that's what Seren kind of that they're moving towards is that she can be that distributor in the back three, and
I
that's
mean,
great.
it is, and well, and these days, we have shifted the definition of playmaker to absolutely include those kinds of players.
Mm.
Yes, playmate, like obviously playmaker, the classic definition stands. However, I do feel definitely one of the changes that we're seeing in women's rugby, and kind of in contrast to men's, because in men's they're kind of experiencing a like maybe we should rein it in a little bit. Everybody doesn't have to be a jack of everything. Maybe somebody should be good at something. When we're like you can't play four positions anymore, man. You really got to get good at one. like, um, so you can't play only one position anymore. You gotta
Yeah.
play a few. It expands your ball IQ. It makes you more versatile on the field. Yes, there are trade-offs. I think that that's something that we're not going to be able to judge until later. So
Yeah.
for now, great. I'm excited about somebody who is young and can do that. That was what I
Yeah.
wanted to.
Um, so yeah, there were plenty of positives from Wales. There were some negatives. We saw Bryony King go off with a yellow, which could have been upgraded to a red depending on who was TMO that day.
And it
And
was for exactly what we said.
yeah, it is for. And the thing was, I think if she'd been taken off a few minutes before,
I genuinely
and
just think if
you could
I think if
see
she had
her get
been,
tired.
oh, I just saw her get annoyed.
Yeah, I think she
I
got
just
annoyed
think
and she
that,
got a bit tired,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
happened. Yeah,
That's my thing is that, a follow on to what we talked about longer last time. Some players need to have a diffuser who is on the team. And that's fine. Like, there are also very, very, very good players who are like, I mean, Pauline Boudin Sassou once in a while needs to be calmed down. It's not rare. And it's not like one position group or anything. But unfortunately, when you are somebody like Bryony who's so visible in that, she's bigger, she's very physical, and she is present in every breakdown.
yeah.
And when you do that, you are very visible.
I also think as well, like Bryony King and the way she acts sometimes is like she's so lucky that she's a women's rugby player because
Yes.
the amount
You
of
because you would
cards
be
she gets.
I was gonna say, well, they would call, and I'm not saying this in any charged way other than the way that they say it in rugby, they'd call her a thug.
Yeah, she would get like if I look at like
It's true.
Tame Plumtree in the men's game, like he got a yellow
Yes,
earlier on this season,
that's
and people are like, he should never play for Wales again. And
yes.
like Bryony would get this, and Bryony's yellows are for worse things. They're for high tackles almost every single time. Um,
Yeah,
and the thing is,
they're for like constant shoulder charges, which is like among the cardinal sins.
yeah. So love Bryony, girly
Yeah. Oh no,
pops.
I was gonna say it's another one where like you love to have her on your team, you don't want to play against her,
Yeah,
but
girly pops needs to be managed a bit
gotta stay on
better.
the pitch.
I also think until she matures a bit more, I think she should be playing six and not eight at an
Yeah.
international level.
I agree.
Um,
And this goes back to what I just said, actually. I truly believe that we would be safer. We. I truly believe they would be safer. Maybe just putting her somewhere that's less visible. Because I will say that one thing that women's rugby has for better or for worse is that compared to men's, it is still easier. Sorry, but it is still easier to hide from refs in women's. Yes, it is.
Well, yes. Speaking of that, so obviously I watch the game in person.
Yeah,
Sometimes you pick up extra things when you're in person, sometimes you miss things. You go
yeah,
back, you watch the footage, right?
yeah.
I have to say, Scotland got away with some
With so
insane
much.
shit.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely, I
and
agree. Except for that it made like and especially because we were actually we were very Scotland focused last time, so I don't feel that bad that it's mostly Wales this time. But whoo boy, they got away with it.
like the line out of Gwen Crabb just hit the deck.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's because Emma Wassell pulled her down.
I
I
did
went
not know
back and
that.
watched it. She like yanked her arm.
Hmm. I don't know how I missed that, but
But
it makes
that's
sense.
the
That
thing. Like
tracks.
when you watch things back, like you do pick up on stuff like that, and
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
there were multiple like knock-ons things like that, and I was like, I can't believe they've got away with it. We got away with a couple of things too, but like when
Yeah.
it's that close to a game, it is really frustrating. Um, so that's annoying. But I thought we could end on a positive slash
Yes, let's.
a public service announcement.
Hmm.
So something I saw online, which I know you did too, was um after Cecilia scored, I saw a few people say, "Oh, the give it to Cecilia
That's not
game
what that
plan
is.
is
That's not
back."
what that is.
It's not.
That's
It's
not what
not.
that is. And
When we talk
it's
about
just
the old game
very,
plan,
yeah,
that was not what we meant.
yeah. It's very like surface analysis type thing to just be like, now anytime she has the ball, it's apparently give it to Cecilia. And it's like, no, you can't go that way or else you flattened all of the other things that she does. This was not that. It was a completely different situation. It wasn't off
Yeah.
a set piece.
So Cecilia previously, the way that she was used by Johan was basically as the main ball carrier off a line out.
Off a
Um,
stop. Yeah.
yeah, like she was playing that like number 8 role
Yes.
off a line
What
out.
you would put in your number 8 in for, yeah.
Yeah, as a tight head prop, which meant she wasn't in the line out, she wasn't lifting. Cecilia, very strong. It meant
Yep.
our line out didn't work properly. It meant that the rest of our lifters got very tired because
Yep.
they don't need to be backlifting as much.
No, no, that's absolutely true. And also, when your line out starts coming together and when it starts functioning better, you start to notice that you're doing them more. Um, which is neither good nor bad, I guess. I don't know. I'm like, a line out can be for any reason, but
But yeah, so
you have to be, yeah.
however, what they did there was use Cecilia's netball skills slash
Mm,
former lock skills for her
yeah,
to
right.
jump on her own with no lifter to get the ball
Yeah.
and crash over. That was
Nobody
not the
gave it
give
to
it
her
to
at all. Nobody gave it
that
to her at all.
that was Cecilia using athleticism.
Yeah.
That was not the give it to Cecilia game plan.
No. No, and also like that is kind of I'm trying to find a nice, like a more concise way of saying it. Um, that was also kind of a way that, and we did it too, that kind of a lot of people who were very frustrated with the Wales game plan at that time would hand wave stuff away. And I did it too. I absolutely did when something was especially like confounding that it didn't work. It was like, well, because you tried the wrong game plan, you tried to give it to Cecilia, which wasn't even always true, but it was a cop out.
Mhm.
And I mean, Sean Lynn doesn't. There very much is a plan. I think the question right now is how the plan is going. Um, and it would be right for people to stop me and say that we've only seen it once, which is true. So I'm reserving judgment, but
Yeah.
I do not think that there is any longer a give it to Cecilia game plan. I don't think that that's a game plan anymore.
But that was watching a tight head prop jump like a foot
Just
and a
jump.
half in the air.
Yeah, I mean that was just
Which
like that
and
was just
then
line out
crash
fun. Yeah.
over. Like that was fun.
It was, and yes, it's true that she will still be relied upon for crash ball. That's fine.
Yeah. Speaking of fun, we're just going to quickly shout out our other pods. So if you like listening to Julia, you can check out Wall Street Journal here on the Global Gainline YouTube. If you are listening on YouTube, you can also search it wherever else you're listening. Also on Global Gainline, you can find the Interpro Show, you can find A Bit of an Animal, you can find the French pod that Hugh hosts, and you can find Scrum of the Earth, and probably others that I am missing. And then on our sister channel, Rap, you can find me every Tuesday morning with Rap. And you can also find the provincial pod as the blah 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 blah. What's the word I'm looking for?
Regions.
Regional pods. I'm island brain now that
You
you
were
talked about.
just in Wales.
I know. It's been a long weekend.
And by the way, you yell at me when it's fine. You yell at me when I point out that you don't live in Wales.
Also, Producer Lee is looking for a host for Provincial. This is where I got Provincial from.
Yeah.
Producer Lee is looking for a host for Provincial Irish pods, so an Ulster, a Leinster, Munster, Connacht, etc. pods. And
I
also,
think that's it. I don't think there's a center. I think those are it.
Historically, there is a fifth province. They don't have a
They
rugby
are going.
team.
They are going to, yeah, and they're going to start up a new one just for that one, and it's going to be, you guessed it, Hattie.
Um, and then he's also looking for hosts for an English Premiership pod because apparently people watch that.
I was going to say, if you can tell, neither Hattie nor I have put our hat in the ring.
Yeah. You can contact us and we'll forward you on to Lee, or you can go at Rap on Blue Sky, Twitter, etc., etc. Get in touch. Moving on to next weekend, shall we?
Yeah,
I
let's.
say next weekend in like 2 days, 3 days.
We don't know
Saturday.
when they're listening. It could be any time.
Yeah. So starting off, we have got Scotland versus England, and they are not at Minifield. They're at the Big Ass. Big house.
Oh, okay, so I was like, so for those of us who don't know what you're talking about, is Minifield Murrayfield?
Murrayfield is Murrayfield.
Murrayfield is
Minifield
Murrayfield.
is the Hive,
Is the Hive. Why?
which
I
is
thought we liked the Hive.
because it's next to Murrayfield, but it's small.
Okay, I see. Oh, it's okay. Well, no, I was about to get in trouble. I was like, oh, it's the stoop to their Twickenham, but don't say that.
No, they're closer.
I actually don't know. I've never been to either.
No, they're actually really close. It's like
I assumed that the Twickenham stoop was where a stoop would be, which is attached to a house.
no, because the stoop is named after a person.
Okay, well, so I have spent my entire rugby fandom and playing until this moment thinking that it meant like the little one that's like out front.
No, and it's actually like a bit of a walk away.
It's for somebody named Stoop.
Yeah,
That's pretty English.
yeah. I won't bore you with the history of the stoop.
Different pod. Let's do it then.
Different pod. No, Minifield is very close to Murrayfield, a bit like how Cap is close to the Prinny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where they're playing. It's going to be now. It is actually the first official women's headlining game.
Yes, that is that's the one
Yeah.
they're celebrating.
However,
be
they
really well attended.
have played there on their own before, but that was due to the weather.
Yeah, that was by accident.
That was if you've ever seen the photo of Abby Dow just stuck out on the wing like this, like
Oh, right. Yes, that is it. That was the
it's
one
from that game.
Yeah. With it really cemented for me why the Wings always wear thermals. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they were supposed to play at Minifield on the Sunday or something, and the pitch like they couldn't play because it was like
froze over.
it was frozen, yeah. And then they were going to play on the Monday, but for whatever reason they couldn't play it in Minifield. They had to play it at Murrayfield, I think, because of the pitch. But
Yeah, sounds
nobody was
Scottish.
there.
Hmm. What do you think is going to happen in this match at this pitch?
Oh, it's an England game. Oh, I don't know.
Same. So same. I was just doing this so we can move along because as usual we're yapping too much for the outline my friend Hattie wrote.
I
All right. All right. Our predictions for this, we think England's going to win. Scotland.
Yeah.
Scotland isn't, we went over it earlier. Scotland, we're worried about in terms of injuries. You have another major playmaker out. Isn't Was also officially injured again?
I think Was is a bit. Ellis Martin, again, she played 10 minutes. I'm still concerned.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I was happy that it was 10. I was really hoping it'd be none, but I was okay with 10. I was worried that it was going to end up 25 or 20 or 25, but I mean,
or push Lana to like 80.
that's
But yeah,
yeah, either
also
one, to be
worrying.
honest. It is worrying, and like it's especially confounding for Scotland because otherwise that is a position that they've never had depth problems. And they don't actually. They still don't have depth problems. They have just a really shitty situation.
But it's not, it's the same as Ireland though, with their sort of like depth issue at hooker, is that they've got two very, very good players who just
Mm,
aren't capped and don't have international experience.
sure, but then on top of it, they also have two that are capped that are
Yeah,
that
but
are
they
capped
are,
and very good.
but are also incredibly injury prone.
Right. And I mean, Lana isn't actually injury prone. She just had one really fucking bad one. And, but yeah,
Yeah.
otherwise. No. And I mean, that's a greater conversation for another time, but we're going to eventually have to address, like every other women's sport is right now, that we're going to have to address our ACL problems, but that's not a problem for you and me to solve. Um,
We don't
what do
have
we
that
think?
kind of brain power.
Also, again, I can't stress this enough. We are not women in STEM. Uh, for our mystery third host, we are looking for perhaps a woman in STEM.
A
We don't
woman
know. We'll see.
Bunsen burner.
A Buncess burn. Nope, that's not
No.
good. Nope,
Um, so I really think that for Scotland, their aim would be to have a good time, not really lose
mm,
anyone to injury,
not lose anyone is going
and
to be the big one.
like score some points.
Yeah, I will consider it a success if Scotland gets on the board. I would really like to see two. If they get one, I'll be happy.
Yeah, because the weird thing about the England-Scotland game is that it is actually usually quite a big score, even when
Yeah,
even when Scotland are playing well. Like they just seem to flop
yes.
against England, weirdly.
Scotland also, and this is not a knock on Scotland as much as it is most of the teams other than England, but like what we're seeing this time, and definitely is the takeaway for me is that like actually a lot of these teams don't have 80 minutes right now.
And I also think like England could come into this being really pissed off they didn't do as well as they thought they should last weekend at Twickenham.
That's true. I also, and I think I'm in a minority camp, but I genuinely do think losing Mo is going to actually have an impact.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I know that I am very much in the minority. I am simply not in.
I
I don't
think
have a problem with her. I don't think Lucy's very good.
Lucy Packer
I think she plays for the Red Roses. I don't think she's a great scrum half.
and Flo, like it's the same as losing Pauline Bordon-Sansu for France. Like
Yeah.
the scrum half depth that they've got in England and France, like just isn't deep.
And is
You've got
a unique.
generational players versus
I was gonna say it's a unique no depth situation where it isn't necessarily that it's like a slow slope down for scrum half for them specifically. It's like a really high peak and then a drop. Um, which, you know, for some positions it doesn't really matter. When you are specifically Mo Hunt and when you are specifically a scrum half, I am hoping that that is calamitous. I
I,
mean, she runs so much of the tempo.
yeah. I also I think if they had like a Katie Daly McLean style 10, I think it'd be less of an issue. But
That'd
because
be
they
fine,
don't
but they
particularly
don't.
have a strong 10 at the minute, it is
No. No,
bit interesting.
and England fans would absolutely snap back at you. They would say absolutely that's not true about Zoe Harrison, but yes, it is.
Yeah.
Zoe Harrison is not a Katie Daly McClayton in the
No.
way that they play. Obviously, she's very good. She's a good
Yeah.
rugby player, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's not what they have.
Yeah.
Um, all right. We are taking Wales to France. Do you remember where
No.
they're playing? I do not. No.
France are going to Wales.
Oh, Wales got two home in a row. Good for them.
Yeah.
Um, great. We know the French love going to Wales. Nope. Um,
I love playing France at cap. It doesn't make me nervous at all.
yeah, it's definitely not gonna be a mess. Are you going to Cap?
No, I will be at home this weekend.
Yeah.
The problem, so what I remember last time out when we played France at cap, Grise ran like 80 meters,
That was what I was thinking. I was like, I know that that's one of the Wales matches. I didn't remember which one, and
and then
just answered it.
the cap match before that was Jessie Tremouillet's best game in like a decade, where she
It
absolutely, yeah,
was. Wow, I like fully memory hold that match.
it's
Yeah, okay,
probably, yeah. I mean,
I
if you're
remember
not a
exactly what you're talking about.
Wales fan, excellent
He was
match.
great.
Jesse Tremoulier
I was
put
gonna say
on.
Jesse Trulia.
Jesse Tremoulier heard somebody say that female rugby players can't kick and put on a fucking masterclass.
Jesse
Um,
Trulia can. What really hurts is just that she has apparently just like ridden off into the sunset. Didn't give any of the other
on a
ones, but
cow.
on a cow.
She's coaching.
Is she?
Yeah, in the elite
Oh,
one.
good. Well, I would hope.
Mm.
Great.
So I said on Wrap that if we can get 4 tries,
That would be a coup.
I'd
That'd be
be, yeah,
fantastic.
that's our like best thing we can do. When I looked back at our previous scores, France always put like 40 on us roughly.
Mhm.
And we generally average 2 tries. I think if we, and I think last year we had a try disallowed, so we actually scored 3, but one was disallowed controversially, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
I think if we can get 4, I'd be very happy.
I'd be very happy with that. No, that wasn't even what I expected you to say. I thought it would be lower. Because yeah, I was gonna say I'd be happy with 2 or more.
Yeah,
Um,
I would like us to start thinking about bonus points
yeah,
and like
I
the
would love that
table.
too.
I think that's something that we really have to look at because we the weird thing about the Six Nations, is like with the women's Six Nations, is that it's so up and down, and
Yeah, and there's
it's decided
it's so
entirely on
narrow.
bonus
Yeah.
points, but we don't seem to aim for that 4th try.
No, and you can't ever tell if a team, I mean, okay, not that you can't tell, but you would always assume that every team is aiming to get as close to the other score as possible. So obviously everybody's always going for the losing bonus point.
Yeah.
But
But like if you look at Italy, for example, sometimes they like don't really seem to give a shit if they're, like they know going up against England and France that they're not gonna win. But in previous years, they've, especially against England, they've put
yeah,
everything into scoring tries and they have got 4 tries.
yeah.
So
It's the thing is like we have to stop seeing it as like a stretch goal and it needs to become the goal and then the stretch goal can be win. How
yeah,
about that? Yeah.
exactly. Like it's a small step. Let's get 4 tries and
Mm,
then close that gap.
yeah. Absolutely. And I mean and that to me that feels very like right
Mm,
for Sean for the
mm.
way that he or that we know that he has done before at Gloucester, for example.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable goal that I think he would have.
Ireland, Italy?
This is probably going to be the most competitive game of the weekend,
I
and it
think
could
so.
be really
Very much so.
interesting.
I think so too. I'm really interested to see, well, obviously, and especially after we just went over it so much, I'm interested to see how Ireland shuffles to address this. What we did end up learning though, in the Italy-France game is unfortunately, the back line is still not firing. So I'm really not
It's
sure. I'm really
that
not sure about the score.
the back line is al dente.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
it's undercooked.
we uh we guessed or we predicted maybe that or not predicted no we guessed that perhaps Rigoni is not in the squad specifically because of throwing disarray into that back line, but I will say, and it brings me no joy to say, what I did say last week was that for me it never really felt like there was a backs plan that perhaps she was messing up. To me it felt like there wasn't one, and
Mm.
this match this match confirmed it for me.
Interestingly, they put out a thing saying that like reminding everybody that Solari was involved. So I do wonder if
No, she was
Solari.
brought in.
No, but she was already in the squad.
I don't think she was.
She was
I
because I
think that
went
that
and
was
checked.
okay, but that was okay because she was the one that I was thinking. And I remember when we were talking about the in and out chart that I was like, it's really weird not to bring her because who's going to kick, is what I said.
I think
Are
we
you
were
sure?
just, yeah. I went and double checked. She was in
Oh,
the
okay.
original squad,
That's weird.
um, but
Then why didn't you fucking play her?
they put a post out saying that she was with camp, and I was like, well, obviously, because she was in this anyway.
Oh, okay, so I
Oh,
interpreted the post as
I think it's because we said Dinka was going to play 13, and that's
oh
why Solari was anyway. Um,
yeah.
I just thought it was really interesting that they pointed out. Although, the weird thing is, I do think that Dinka at the moment is a better player than Solari, but I think Solari can move
I
into
agree.
12.
I also think we've talked about it before, but a lot of the reason that Dinka, I mean, obviously Dinka's in for many, many reasons, but one of the highlight reasons I am sure is the versatility that you don't
Mm,
necessarily always see with a wing center.
yeah.
Um, for good
Yeah.
reason, but yeah.
Also,
What
it
else do we?
is sorry, it's
Oh
important to point
no.
out that Ireland are playing out in Galway, which is they haven't played there in many, many years. They're playing at the new Dexcom. Anybody who watches URC will know that the Dexcom is windy. It is a
Well,
very specific venue, so it could be interesting to see what happens. I think Ireland are going to have massive home team advantage
I
just
was gonna
because of
say,
the location.
knowing how.
It's windy.
Quick, we need to look up where Dan O'Brien is from.
She's from Leinster, but Anna McGann, not Anna, Anna
Go,
McGann,
go,
Bev,
girl.
Bevan Parsons, Galway girl.
All right.
Mm.
I was
I
just
think
thinking
Anna
Dana
McGann
because if
is.
she's, I was just thinking if she's used to the wind for kicking. I was just trying to make a little joke.
No. Do you know who is from
So,
Galway, but she's not in the squad because
hmm,
she's retired? Is Nicole Foley.
well,
Yeah.
she will get to watch this match with a drink in her hand.
Now, if you are in Ireland to watch that game, or if you're in Cardiff, or if you're in Edinburgh, exciting news
You
for
have more rugby.
there is more rugby. So the under 21s Women's Six Nations starts this weekend. So instead of 5 rounds, there is 3 rounds. It's the first year. Like previously, there's been a festival in the summer, and they've done sort of like a weird round robin kind of weird thing.
Mm, yeah,
This time around, it is they have specifically designed it so that it kind of replicates what the Six Nations, like the full Six Nations, is like, with the idea that eventually it expands to be 5 rounds, etc., etc. Very
right.
similar to how the men's game has the men's Six Nations and the under 20 Six Nations. That's the idea. I think it's a really, really good idea. I'm really excited. Ireland and Wales are both holding double headers, so same stadium. The Ireland one, the under 21s is before, and the Wales one is after. And then Scotland versus England, the under 21s game is at Minifield. So it's at the Hive rather than it being at Murrayfield. If you are not in those locations, don't worry, it will be on the U Six Nations YouTube channel.
Your guess is as good as mine. I did not know that channel existed.
Yeah, it's where I've been watching the under 18s.
I wish I had a good, and I don't, and I don't have a good excuse for not watching it, except for that I feel like I'm not supposed to be watching children.
Yeah, it does make me feel a bit weird when
It
I'm
makes me
watching
feel
it.
weird.
And see, the thing is that I pay quite a lot of attention to the Wales under 18s
Right.
girls.
And
But
then
then
when you say that out loud, it sounds very bad.
and the thing is, like, I have put it in the rap chat before, and I'm like, the under 18s girls are playing, and that chat, I'm the only woman in that chat, and it's just middle-aged men. And I'm like, this is,
And then you went to jail. Right. You
mm,
got a lot of them on a list. I feel like we saw this in your chat.
yeah,
Some woman is telling you about,
yeah.
it says her name is Hattie, but it says AKA Ghislaine? I don't know.
Anyway, uh, that's the Six Nations, isn't it?
It is. So, as I said in the beginning, we're going to be breaking this one up into two because we are human. I keep yapping too much, and sometimes we need drink refills. So, Hattie, do you have anything to wrap us up before we head over to Pacific 4 after we do our stuff?
No.
Oh, great. In that case,
Oh,
I
was I
have.
supposed to?
Well, it says outro, but I didn't know if outro was just me. And I see now that it is me because it's in my color. Folks, this has been an episode where I read the outline. Every time I read the outline, it's gender coded, and I misread it. This has been our W6N.
I feel like you are I feel like blue's your color.
Thank you so much. It's because of my beautiful eyes.
And
I don't
we
know.
both know that I like pink and
You like pink, and then well, so I only paused because it was like, yeah, but Hattie's eyes are bluer. So it's fine. It's whatever. I don't have a stigma about it. I don't hate myself every day for it. Um, This has been stuff I've made up and is not true, but I'm like trying a bit out. I'm probably gonna just wrap this on up because we have Pacific 4 coming up. Some people consider it the better competition. Um, Nobody does except for me. Uh, Thanks so much for joining us. Come join us again in just a second when you recover from this one.
Whatever
See you
this
guys in a minute.
is.
Whatever this is. See you in a minute.